It is now hoodie season. It's starting to get a little chilly out, so we're going to learn how to tie-dye a hoodie today. So you're going to need a few supplies before we get started. You're going to need a hoodie for one. You're going to need that to be as close to 100% cotton as possible. It is a little bit tough to tie-dye or to find 100% hoodie. So the main goal that I usually look for is an 80-20 mix, which is 80% cotton and 20% polyester, which is what this is right here. And this also has a 100% cotton face. And so you can still get a good blend with 100% cotton on the outside. And then you're also going to need some soda ash, some Procion dye and dye bottles, some rubber bands, and some dish soap. So go ahead and mix your dye as well. I used about 24 ounces of liquid dye on this, so it does take quite a bit of dye to dye a hoodie. If you don't know how to mix the dye, please watch my video, What is Procion Dye? And it'll go over the mixing instructions for that with you. And then afterwards, you're going to need to wash, or you can even do during. You're going to need to wash this first. So put this in the machine with some regular detergent and wash it. Don't worry about drying it. And then once this is finished washing, we will prep it and get it ready for tie-dye. After your hoodie is washed, you're going to be soaking it in soda ash. And so this water right here is a soda ash solution of 1 gallon of water to 1 cup of soda ash. I'm going to be putting quite a few hoodies in here. So I have 6 gallons in this, so I put 6 cups of soda ash. You can put as many items in that will fit, and then you're going to want to let it sit. So we'll see if like all these will fit in here. You need to make sure that they get completely wet. So press it in there, and with hoodies, they're going to take quite a bit of water. And so if you're only doing one, you're probably going to need at least 1 gallon of water. 1 gallon should be just fine for one. So you're going to get it all in there, let all your liquid absorb, and then you're going to want to let this sit for about 15 minutes. All right, once your hoodie has sat for about 15 minutes or so, you're going to want to wring out all the excess water. And so you're just going to start squeezing as you pick it up. Some of these can get kind of heavy. This is, I'm not sure exactly what size this is, but because of how much hoodies absorb, these can absorb a lot of water. So you're going to want to try to squeeze out as much water as possible. So there's the first initial squeeze. And then if you can, try to get a little bit more out, especially if you're using this water. So this water can be saved to dye more. So if you're doing more than one, then you can keep some of this water because there's still soda ash in the water that's being squeezed out. We're going to try to get as much water out as possible. You don't want to twist it too much because you can tear some of the stitches and stuff. So you really want to squeeze more than twist. You can twist a little bit, but you want to get as much water as possible out. Then we're going to put it in this bucket here. So it's still not quite ready to dye. You can either hang it up somewhere and let it dry out. But if it's cold, that could take a long time. So one of the things that I like to do is we're going to take this to the washing machine and we're going to spin it out. To spin out the excess water with the washing machine, what you want to do, turn it on. And with mine, so there's a lot of different settings, but mine is the front load. And so what I do is I can come over here to this rinse and spin setting, and it automatically puts the rinse on here. I do not want it to rinse. So to turn the rinse cycle off, I have to push this all the way till it turns off. Once that rinse cycle is off, it's good, because if it rinses, then it'll rinse the soda ash out and you'll have to soak it again. And then to spin it, I put it on the highest setting for the spin, and then we start it. So once your hoodie is spun out, it's got the excess water out of it. It should be slightly damp. You don't want it to be completely dry. You just want it to be mostly dry. If it gets too dry, it can become crispy and get a little hard to fold and tie. And then it'll also be hard for the shirt to accept the dye. So you want it to be just slightly damp. So if you're hanging yours up, instead of spinning it out, you'll just want it to hang up until it's mostly dry, but not completely dry. And so now I've got it inside out and turned face down. I've got all my wrinkles taken out of it. And the reason I do this is by putting it inside out first, if we happen to maybe spill a drop or so of liquid in a spot we don't want it to be, turning it inside out like this can help hide that, and so it's not on the front face of the shirt. And then by turning it face down, that gives the bottom of the shirt a flat surface, so that when we fold, that side is folded more evenly and flat against the table itself. And because that's the front of the shirt, it'll give us a cleaner look on the front of the shirt. So to do a fan fold, also the Peacock fold, and it's similar to, I guess it wouldn't be an accordion fold, but similar concept. So the fans in which that you fold up or open up to fan yourself off with, that is the same concept that we're doing right here. So what we're going to do is pick your point. We're going to pick the side point from one of the armpits, and we're just going to take the hoodie, and we're going to start to fold it just like you would one of those fans. So we're going to take it to about right here, and then we're going to switch hands. Put your other finger here, and we're going to take this hoodie, this sleeve right here, and we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're just going to hold. And so we're going to have a really long tie here. But the goal is to squeeze it all into itself. And then you're going to get some folds out here as well. You're just going to continue whatever folds are in the shirt out to this sleeve. If you do anything else to this sleeve, you'll have a uniform pattern and then a sleeve that doesn't fit the uniform. So if you want, you can tie this sleeve different, or you can leave like this, and just, this is how we're going to do it. So now we're going to take some rubber bands here, and we're going to start at the end right here, or at the part where we put our fingers. So this is going to be the middle point. What this does is actually creates a circle. So you have a little circle, a big circle, a bigger circle, and a bigger circle, depending on how it's tied. So if you were to do this from the center, you would have circles around the center point. It's kind of why I like to do it from the side. So mandalas are done similar to this, but they're measured before they're folded. So now we're going to take a rubber band, twist it into an 8, fold it over itself, so it's just doubled over. You're going to stick 4 fingers in there, possibly your thumbs. What we're going to do is we're going to slip this in about this far. So we're going to eventually go all the way, but we need to hold down a spot first so that this is now tighter, and we'll start to work our way this way. But before we do that, now I'm going to take a single rubber band, and we're going to get the tip of this. So however many times that goes on there, we're just going to wrap that one on there. And now we're going to start to rubber band all the way down. So they'll all be done the same way. And I'm going to space these about 2 inches apart. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this as we work our way this way. That way it's tight within itself, it's bound to itself, it's easier to get these rubber bands over it. So if it's wide, if it's too wide as you're doing this, it can get really hard to start to put these over. And if you just put a rubber band over it without doubling it over, it's not going to put quite as much tension as what you need. It'll be loose. You don't want it to be too loose, otherwise it loses its detail. So these, by doubling it over like this and keeping it tight, this is how we keep our definition and detail in our pattern. And trying to come from this side, working this way, we still won't be able to do, because trying to slip over this or this gets really hard, because all you got to do is just bump it and it moves, and now it's really hard to slip over. So it's still going to be easier to slide rubber bands all the way down this way and just kind of continue working down. So even if, like, say that does spread out like that, while you're trying to put the rubber band on, you can still just work your way down, and as you get here, because of the natural direction of the folds, it's just going to work its way in. So we're almost able to start over here, but I think I'm still going to keep going all the way down. We're just going to work our way down, however many it takes. So from this point, we should be able to work from here now. But what we want to do is make sure these same folds are in here. You can introduce some new extra folds if this, like, say, gets too tall or something. That's fine. But what you want is basically all your folds to still be in the same direction as the rest of the shirt. That way it maintains the same pattern all the way through. And so before I start to rubber band here, I'm going to do kind of similar to what I did on the other end. Is I'm just going to band the end of this sleeve here. That way it's now held its shape. We have shape on both sides, and now we're going to start to rubber band this. So I'm going to go all the way to about here. And there's not as much material here, so after I put a rubber band on there, like, that's still pretty loose. So I may have to go through and tighten that. But before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and put all of these on. And keep about the same spacing or so. Okay, so now that those are on, I'm going to come through and take a rubber band, and I'm just going to loop that around one more time. That way that gives that one more level of tightness. I'm going to do this to all of them. It's a little hard to triple over a rubber band and put it over, so I find it easier to double it like I did, and then come back through and put that extra loop if needed. But then you'll want to make sure that the top is still the top, the bottom is still the bottom, one side is still the side, and the other side is still the side. That way it's not, like, twisted up. Okay, so now we're all tied up. And there is the other side. See how I see is nice, clean on that table side. So that's going to be the front of the shirt right there, or the front of the hoodie. Okay, so we've got a mixture of 12 different colors right here. If you need to see how to mix your dye, please watch my video, What is Procion Dye? And it'll go over how to mix the dyes for you. So I've got a blend from a light orange, shifting all the way to purple, and then a little bit of blue, and then some black here. And so I was sitting here trying to decide if I wanted the inside to be light or the outside to be light. And I think I'm going to go with the outside being lighter and the inside being darker. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just start on the outside over here with this brightest orange that I have. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to color 2 sections with this. So I have 12 colors, and there's 16 sections here. So a few of them will be taking up more than one section. So I'm not going to put enough dye for it to go all the way through, just most of the way through, because we are going to be dyeing the other side as well. So my oranges here are going to be getting a little bit deeper as we move along. And so I'm going to overlap them a little bit too. And I don't think I actually want this to be too. So some of them will go longer than others. Since I have quite a few oranges here, I don't want this to be too orangey. So this will be my, I think I might have mixed, let's check something out real quick. I feel like I mixed up some oranges. No, that's right, okay. Yeah, because this orange, yep, all right, just making sure. Yeah, I've got a few oranges, and I apparently did not mark them correctly. So they're kind of in the wrong order, but hey, you know, it happens. So I just want to make sure. So this is pretty much going to be, one of the sleeves is going to be pretty orange. That'll be this one here. All right, so let's see, just looking at our color choice we got here. Oh yeah, because I still got one more orange to go, I think, kind of a reddish orange still. I was wanting more of a orangey shirt, just kind of why I chose this color palette. I haven't really worked with oranges too much, although I did a little bit here for Halloween. Okay. And this one is going to be some orange with red mixed together. Should be a nice bright color. There's going to be a lot of dye being used. So a hoodie is going to take 20 ounces of dye or more, which is at least 5 of these bottles. So it could take anywhere from 5 to 7 bottles of dye, at least the bottles I'm using. I have 4-ounce bottles here, so these aren't really big bottles. But if you use big bottles, you know, make sure you have plenty of dye. Hoodies are a lot of material. They just soak up dye and soak up dye, and they keep on soaking up dye. It's like, why do you take so much? Just making a couple hoodies. 1 year, about 40 hoodies 1 year, actually over 40. And is that all the red? Probably shouldn't have used so much of that red. Might have to overlap with some of these. Yeah, I bought a ton of hoodies and was like, yeah, this will be super fun. I did not realize how much dye a hoodie takes. It just takes so much. They're thick, they absorb a lot. And they get kind of hard to sell because of that. It's a lot of work. You're putting a lot into it. And people are like, wait, you sell hoodies for how much? Oof. Yeah, whatever. So I'm going to make a few hoodies this year. This is my 4th hoodie to dye today, I think. Got a few more left. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this color palette. I'm running low on dyes, so I decided let's use some colors that we don't typically use all the time and work from there. So that is what I decided to do. So I still got a little bit left based on the color here. So I was thinking about putting some black in there. So it looks like it's going to work out to where there may be a little more black than I was originally planning for, but I think we'll be okay. And actually, so what color is this one? Do I have more of this? No, I don't. Okay. So this is my magenta that I made. It's a mixture of fuchsia and purple. Let's see if there's any more fuchsia over here to add to this. This is very purpley. So what I would like to do is add, there we go. There we go. More of a pink to it. This is a lighter fuchsia mixture that I had made, but it'll work well with this purple. It should give us a good magenta to go right here. This be a nice transitional color between red and purple. So got fuchsia. I can even take some of this, put it right here. It's kind of a pink. That's how I make pinks, is with fuchsia. Fuchsia is like a deeper pink. And it's easier to make pinks with fuchsia than it is with red. So my main color palette, like if I only had a choice between 4 colors, 4 dyes to use, and that was the only 4 dyes I got to use for the rest of my life, I would pick turquoise, lemon yellow, fuchsia, and black. You can get pretty much every color you want out of those colors. That's how a lot of printers are. They're cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, and it's basically the same. Some places will call it cyan, they'll call it turquoise. They're very close. Some will say magenta, some will say fuchsia. They're very close. And like here where I'm at, like I'm in the US, they are 2 different colors. But as I looked up those colors to find out their origin, they're the same color, but one of the words was from French origin, and I think the other was German origin, possibly. And they were both actually the same color, but now we have distinguished them as different colors, and one makes up the other. It's just slight differences between how much blue or fuchsia is in them, really. Yeah, so that was just my normal purple. This purple right here is actually a violet indigo, and I get this by taking my purple and mixing it with my turquoise, which is what I got labeled as blue over there. And my blue is actually a mixed color too. It's not pure turquoise, but that turquoise gives me the best variety of colors, so I use it over other blues. And so this will give us, this lightens it up a little bit. Not lightens, but sorry, deepens, gets into the cooler section a little more. And then this blue is mostly turquoise with just a tiny little bit of purple added to it. Just enough so that it doesn't quite go violet indigo. It's kind of a blue indigo still. So we're going to take this all the way in. And then we're going to take some black here. right there in the center. And we're going to put, see how much black I got, just to be sure. Do I want to do that? Okay, so actually, so now we're going to flip this over. And then this whole side, as you can see, not a whole lot of dye went through right there at all. So actually, we're going to come back through. We need dye here. There is just not enough. Not for me. And since we are out of some of these colors, so let's see. I think that one will be fine over here. And we're going to make sure to put quite a bit. There's a lot of material right here. A lot. Which is why it didn't go through. So if you got spots where when you flipped it over and there wasn't much dye, stick that bottle down into the fold. Squeeze some dye down in there. I have to go over this a little bit too. I think we're probably good now. That should be good. A little white is okay. It's just depending on how you want it. It is all just whatever your preference is. There is no right or wrong way to really do this stuff. Okay, I'll make sure we get this flipped over. And the black, we are going to put on the whole side here. So usually what I'll do is go along the edge a little quickly just to make sure to get enough of there on there so that it doesn't drip too much to the other side. And then here I'm going to be real careful. There's not a lot of fabric here. And so if I put too much black, you're just going to have a black sleeve. If you want a black sleeve, that is fine. But I'm just trying to put some contrast in here. So what this does is our color is going to have a semicircular pattern to it. And then this black is going to have lines that go perpendicular to the rest of the color. And we'll actually have two different patterns in this. So you can put different colors on this side if you want. You can put the same color, or you can put black like I do. I usually put black on just about all of my dyes. Not quite all of them, but just about. Okay, so now that we've got it all on the edge, now I'm just going to quickly go back and forth like this. Put some dye. I've run out of dye in this bottle. I do not like to dye with these big bottles. Too much dye comes out at one time. So I typically use these big bottles as a as backup dye for when I run out, and I can just easily go fill it up and then keep on working. So I'll typically mix 32 ounces of dye at a time, which I believe is a quarter gallon. I live my life a quarter gallon of dye at a time. Alright, so now I'm just going to finish putting this over here just like this. And I think we'll have a little bit of white, but I think it's going to look cool because it'll give a white halo effect between this black here and the color that we put on the other side. The color will, both of the colors that we put on both sides will show on both sides of this hoodie, if that makes sense. So this will, the front and back will have both color and black. Okay, so there's that side. This is now dyed. We're going to flip this over. And that is going to sit for 24 hours, and then we will wash this out tomorrow. So our hoodie is now rinsed, washed, and dried. If you need to see how to do that, please watch my video, how to rinse and wash your hoodie, and it'll go over the instructions on how to do that for you. So we're gonna go over this hoodie just a little bit, just to kind of explain what we did. So we did the fan fold, and we chose right here as our center point to fold it up. So as we folded it like this. And as you can kind of see, our color is working out that way. And so we dyed the color on the one side. So we had our blue and worked out to purple, which went out through the red and then the orange and all the way out to our lighter orange out here, which also happened to work here because it does work in a circular effect, like how a fan works. And then our hood is more orange. So it is part of the higher or farther out from the center from here. And then we put black on the other side. And so by putting that black, that's what got the striations that go out, the lines that go out. And then on the other side, you see we have the same pattern on this side. Is just the opposite. So our mirror point is actually right here. You can see it just mirrors from here. And so we end up having the same pattern on the back side as we do on the front side. So if you have any questions, please be sure to leave them in the comments. Be sure to click that like and subscribe for more videos. My name is Nate. Thank you for watching.